Hi, everybody. We're here with Dr. Doug Petersen, my dear friend, for how many years? 40?
More than 40.
More than 40 years. Doctor from Oxford University. And I'm just proud that I have you to hang out with. We go to Laker games and all. I mean, you're a real guy. You enjoy life. And we have so many experiences, our families together. It really has been good. I have Dr. Doug Petersen on today because a big part of our website and our ministry is based on statistics. Where are we really today in the church? The world view of our church from outside, and quite frankly, the view of God from inside the church, and the view of the world. Just looking out. How do we view the world? And, the world seems to be going crazy. Why is that happening? Whose fault is it? And the statistics really tell that story very poignantly, disturbingly. And I wanted to introduce you to the man behind the stats, the guy that's really been doing so much research. You put a lot of hours into this.
I have. I've sort of been living with these research studies now for more than a year. Wow. So they're becoming my friends.
Yeah. So go back. You were born in Lethbridge, Alberta,
Canada.
Actually,
I grew up in central Alberta, a little farm.
Okay.
Right in the middle of Alberta.
Yeah.
We were like throwbacks, I suppose. No running water, no electricity. And
40 degrees below zero at times.
It was cold.
And with an outhouse.
With an outhouse.
Wow.
I cannot imagine, but indeed it's true.
But from that, and you came to our church in Santa Ana, California as a youth pastor, and one thing led to another. Then God encouraged you, inspired you to take our youth group down to Belize.
Belize is this little country in Central America that nobody went to. Back then, it used to be British Honduras. It was a British protectorate.
Yeah.
So we took a group of kids. It wasn't something that I was particularly wanted to do, but the senior pastor encouraged me, in fact, said that I needed to do that, so I did. And that sort of started that spark of my interest in the world. What was so impactful on me was wonderful things were happening, but I was also aware that there wasn't really a church for these people to become a part of. And so that sort of put that seed in my heart about I needed to maybe give a part of my life and take my family and get a church going.
So you did that and built the great church, evangelistic church down there, and then came Latin America Child Care, this wonderful ministry with something like 100,000 kids into
Latin
it now.
America Child Care, we'd go into slum communities, build schools and feeding programs and medical programs, always with the church. Yeah. And 100,000 kids come through those doors, every single day.
So from how do you get from there to Oxford?
Well,
how does one do that?
I always had an academic side. I went to a little Bible school in the basement of a church, and I got a good education theologically, but it wasn't accredited. And I wanted to get more education, so I got a BA. Then I went to Pepperdine and got a master's. And then I went to the Oxford Center and did a PhD in social theology. And always sort of had that as my sideline. But I pursued it faithfully throughout the years.
Well, then your writing started to become world acclaimed.
The main thrust of my writing has to do with the fact that the church makes a huge difference in people's lives socially. As far as the poor, it gives dignity and value and worth, and they become members of society. And so most of my research is along that idea of building social capital and how does the church play its way out in the public square.
And that has resonated with world scholars. And these are guys you hang out with. You're part of the club there.
Latin America is a phenomenon in that at the beginning of the 20th century, there were very few evangelical believers, and now there's probably 100 million.
Right.
So it's a phenomenon, just as a people movement.
It is.
And whether it's a secular university or otherwise, there is huge interest in what in the world happened.
What happened? So you've been there to explain that.
And so I was in
incredible.
That ideal place where I was able to experience it while I'm doing my missionary work. I'm also doing my academic work.
Well, to get a doctorate at Oxford, you have to do research, and you have to do it really well and well documented, and everything, every T crossed and I dotted and all that.
Preciseness is obviously critical. You can make any argument that you wish to make as long as you have a paper trail and that it's reasonable. But if you don't have the paper trail, you just cannot say things. You have to have an argument that's grounded in evidence that peer review scholars would look at whether they agree with you, but they'd say, no, that's good work. It's a reasonable argument.
So we have asked you to take the discipline of what you have learned and exercised in your research at Oxford and whatever now, and applying it to this broad field that affects every one of us in our everyday lives. And this was a marriage made in heaven. I got to tell you, it's been so much fun. Doug, it is always fascinating to be with you. I mean, you're so helping us better understand what's going on inside the church today and outside as well. And we're going to do this a whole lot more. And thank all of you for joining us.